realized how long all this stuff takes.
And
I mean, it's looking good, but it all takes time.
I'll take it over my father-in-law's 3/4 ton on a trip.
Really?
But he has nothing but problems with that one since he got it.
I've got problems, just matters if they're made on Monday or Friday.
Yeah.
What?
I wanna get rid of mine,
You're
but
building
listen,
it.
what,
What's that?
my car.
Want an expensive vehicle, buy a Jeep.
Well,
My
Shelby
Jeep
was
was
looking at
not
Gladiators. I
expensive.
tried to convince
It's
him.
how you drive them that makes them expensive
Oh.
sometimes.
I was
Expensive.
gonna say, it's a whole
not.
lot easier on my gravel than my little car ever
You buy
was.
it new?
Nope, I had to find that color and they didn't make it
Yeah, I
anymore.
wonder. Yeah.
Besides, I didn't need a new one.
Buy what other color and have it painted. You're made of money, right?
Yeah, right.
What year is that? Get it wrapped.
I think it's a 16.
Well, you may wanna
Might be
look
an
at-
18.
I think that one also has the hole back there by the rear tire that has a tendency to rust out.
Don't know, I can't remember which.
No, mine will have rust eventually.
Like I say, they all rust eventually in Kansas.
No, it's where the spring mount goes to, the frame
Oh.
rust out and you tear it out of the frame, you gotta cut your frame and put it back in.
I got a good.
But I don't
deal.
drive a
know.
lot of
Came out
salt, I
Canada.
drive more gravel, that's better.
There's no salt in Canada, is there?
I actually think they use a lot.
I don't think it works
up there.
Probably.
It's that crazy
No, they do
slurry
in
that's hard on stuff.
Manitoba.
That magnesium stuff that,
That magnesium's much harder on stuff and it just ruins the wiring.
What time's the movie start?
Brand new semis that drive out on the East Coast, in 2 years they're done. They put new wires in
I was
those.
at the gym, I
Really?
was starving, I'm like,
just can't handle it, huh?
So you stopped on your way walking?
I was at the gym anyway.
Oh,
I didn't wanna walk to CJ and back or.
I haven't done anything about looking for a clock or a battery.
Back in the good old days, we had
clock either.
popcorn and
Forget all
cookies and
about
stuff
it.
around here.
I don't know what time it was.
we
Yeah.
did?
Yep,
Back in the good old.
Minute and a
Oh
half.
yeah, before your time.
snack
A long
trays,
time before my time.
coffee.
Yeah, when are we gonna get back to the coffee?
Well, I don't know.
All right, I'll wait for round two.
Think about it. Didn't think about
If
it.
we can upgrade, like have a little espresso machine in there.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
How skilled are you, Cindy?
I'm not.
Are you to school for that?
For making espresso.
City clerk / city barista?
We'll just get you a Keurig, that way you can do whatever you want.
That'd work.
Just a really expensive machine, that's what that is.
I was at a meeting in Kansas City Friday night and Saturday, and there was a Starbucks in the motel, and Cindy was with me, and she went and asked the lady that was there. She said, we're only open till 11. I work someplace else during the week and just do this on Saturday mornings.
Really?
Yeah.
Call this meeting over.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Fry,
Present.
Keating,
Present.
Snellings,
Present.
Bikeman,
Present.
Gracky,
Present.
Price,
Here.
Barons,
Here.
Crum.
Here.
Okay. Next up, we have the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting, December 27th.
Move approved minutes of the regular meeting, December 27th, 2021.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion changes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. Next up, we have public comment. Is anybody here for a 5-minute public comment? Okay. We don't have anything on business discussion or notices and hearings. First up is the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion about any of the items on there? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ado. Next up, we have Appropriations Ordinance number 3764.
Move to approve Appropriations Ordinance 3764.
I was shocked how small that was.
Yeah, when we have a double ordinance in December, or triple.
I'll second that.
Any discussion about anything on there? Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Snelling,
Yes.
Beichman,
Yes.
Guaraki,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Rom,
Yes.
8.
Okay. Next up, we have Austin with the staff report.
All right, first on the list is chip and seal rock. The plan is to do 2 or 3 loads of chip and seal this year. That amounts to, it's 17 blocks a load. And so 34 to 51, I believe. Blocks of chip and seal. We order it early in the season so we can get it piled up and ready for our summer time chip and seal. Sometimes they do raise the rates, so we do it first thing in the year. So
Move to approve the Haydite rock in the amount of $42,700 for chip and seal.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ado.
Before we get to the next one, I figure I talk more business. The large wood grinder that I was at, you asked me to look into. They regularly do Beatrice, and he said he would call me the next time they were in Beatrice so they could reduce cost. But regardless, they said one day, it's a minimum charge of 1 day, and that's $8,000. And every hour after that is $800 an hour. It's a semi that brings in a grinder, a big drum grinder. He has a crane attached to it, picks up the big chunks, puts it in top, and it takes care of everything. I have done searches and haven't found anything like it. Every time I do a grinder or a chipper search, it's always a unit that is a trailer off the back of a truck, and that's not what we're looking for.
But as big as those pieces are out there, you can't do it with anything else.
No. He said if you put ours next to a parallel grinder that's a decent size, if they got a telephone pole going through it, they'll win. But everything else, large chunks, they'll demolish everything. So my question to you guys is, do I take them up on their offer the next time they're in town to take care of the really large 15 years worth of lumber that we have sitting out there?
How long do you think they would be there? Would they be there?
Regular basis. Well, I don't know how long. He was supposed to tell me how long he thought, but I would say at least a day.
That's what I wondered.
I'm just saying that $8,000 is what you're going to be paying.
He's gonna be there 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
So,
as much as we have up there.
right.
I don't know how else to get rid of it.
Right. And this, getting it shredded like this, and I think he said he could put the screen on to make it, make the chips good for landscape. We would open up because we probably wouldn't have a use for all those chips, but you open it up to the public to come and grab what they needed off of it.
Would it give us more room there
Yeah.
if we got rid of the big?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Lots
what
of
I
it.
figured.
Well, they've got the main pile, then they've piled behind that, and now I see we've went to the west, we've started another spot for the big chunks.
What do you think, half acre of wood out there?
Oh, I'll bet. There's a lot.
It's quite a bit, and like I said, this is 15 years worth of buildup. So we get this taken care of,
Then we might be able to maintain it.
then we might be able to maintain it, yes.
And did he come and look at the pile we have?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
Yep, he came, I was anticipating, he sent me pictures of his truck and all that stuff. I was anticipating a follow-up of, hey, this is what I think. But he said typically he could either do a contract price, and that's a guesstimate, but he warned me on that. He goes, one time I said, this might take 2 days, and I got done in 4 hours. And that kind of screwed whichever, they called the guy back
The
to
problem is
finish
we'll have
it
to
out.
have one of our crew out there when because you're gonna have to keep pushing stuff up close so he can keep grabbing it off of with his machine.
Right. So,
So it's not just he's gonna show up with the truck and start grabbing, cause he can only grab so far.
so far, yeah.
But if we know he's coming, they could kinda,
Oh, yeah, you
No,
just
they-
have to
yeah.
put somebody out there to
Yeah.
keep it close.
But also doesn't have to be closed when he's working.
No,
Not necessarily, no.
they don't have to be after us.
I thought they closed the section around him. Okay.
Nope, I've been within 10 foot of him while he's been grinding, so.
Yeah.
Well, I know if you keep them full, it's not a problem. If
Yeah.
they're not full, it gets pretty interesting.
Let me do some math here.
So to Parker's point, maybe make sure we get a certificate of liability while he's
I
there.
know.
We got one of our guys working.
Just listen to the operator is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When we used to grind pallets at the landfill, it wasn't a problem until somebody left a piece of metal in there.
Oh.
Then everybody gets excited.
You know, if we got to, we can barricade half it off where they're at, and so they can still get into the pile from the south road into it, so,
And there shouldn't be any metal in our stuff.
no.
Well,
There might be some
Little-
nails or,
little- little-
nails and
little
stuff ain't gonna,
Little metal.
Oh, it
Yeah.
won't even phase that
it won't
machine.
phase that. It's brand new. He got it in
Not even
November.
like
tire
a
and all
T-post
kinds of
if it's
stuff in
there?
there.
Alright.
It'll hammer
Plow
through that.
shanks is what we had problems with.
I was gonna say.
They come right through the windshield of the machine and
so 3 days is gonna be $20,800. You can give me a authorization up to any point you want, just, if you think it's gonna be 3 days, we could get this taken care of and work it through, or you wanna go 15,000, 10,000, well, that 10,000 won't get you a couple.
$6,400 is 8 hours.
Right,
that's what I'm looking at. I'd give him 2 days
2 days?
is what I would do.
Okay.
But
That's,
Get what we can in 2 days,
that's roughly
cause I know they haven't,
$15,000.
they haven't come back to landfill. He's in Beatrice usually 3 or 4 times a year. But they grind all their stuff, like our stuff where we just throw it in and burn it. They grind all that stuff up there.
Yeah. Yeah, he says he goes back, and it's like, every time it's $20,000 to $30,000 of work, depending on their budget, every single time. So, $14,400 is 2 days.
let's do 15.
Okay.
That's how I feel. I don't know how else to get ahead of this.
Well, if we need him to come back, it's not gonna be any different in the price if they come back in 3
It is.
months.
Oh, well,
Oh, it would be-
the mobilization, that first day,
First
that
day.
first day.
Yeah,
Well, that's true.
$8,000, yeah.
but I would think if he's here for 2 days, then, I mean, then we'll have an idea next year, then when he comes to Beatrice, we could just,
Yeah.
Grab them
another
again.
couple days or
Baseline
3 or
for how
whatever.
much you can really do in a
Yeah.
day.
And he may show up and be done.
Blaze right through it, yes.
Yeah, he may just leave the next day.
Yeah. And he said he does it based off hours on the machine.
Right.
So he shows up at 8:30, it's not gonna be 8 o'clock. I mean, he's
Right.
not charging for that 8 o'clock. So,
Do we need to make a motion?
yes, please.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Move to approve having Ron, or it's Roy, isn't it?
Well, his name's not Roy, so I'm not,
What's the name of the company?
he didn't even tell me that.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, hold on. It's in my inbox.
left my sheet at home that had the number
What
on it.
day was that that you told me his number? The day, oh, it was a Tuesday after,
Christmas.
Well, I don't know, I mean, does it matter, or just make a
I think-
motion to
I think a
authorize
motion
15,000
for-
for,
Yeah,
Grinding.
15,000 for the grinding of the wood.
okay, that would work.
Second.
all right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Veto.
Thank you. The next thing on my list is cost of living increases. I brought it back. I added some more information based off the last conversation we had. I showed what a 3.5% looks like and a 1.5% bonus. I gave the low, the average, and the high on the bonus, just to see what that looks like without taxes taken out of it, of course, and then what a 5% looks like. I also included something that came out of our guidelines in our classification and pay plan book. It describes what cost of living is. Cost of living adjustments on annual salaries are made in order to keep employee salaries in step with inflationary trends. The COLA should be considered separate from salary increases based on step or longevity. While longevity is assessed individually upon employees, cost of living adjustments are percentage increases generally made across all city departments. The governing body should endeavor to make a clear distinction between step pay, longevity pay, and an annual COLA. And that was just information I had found in our book. So I bring this for you guys to continue discussion.
I guess the first question I have is, what did you budget for a pay increase for this year?
I increased, since every year is different, and I can only guess at what type of raise the council gives. I did anywhere, like in that section, anywhere from a 3 to a 5% based off what was being done before. But that typically is using the budgeted number instead of the actual used number. So the actual used number is typically lower than the budgeted number. So it tends to give us a little bit more space in the budgetary line.
So the budgeted number for this year is proposed for total employee expenses, and then we gotta pull out health insurance and everything.
Right.
But you're right at 313,000, I think, on page 25.
For which one, what do you?
Page 25, the
Oh,
City of Marysville
Gotcha. Wait, budget.
2022 budget. Am I in the wrong spot?
25, page.
Cindy?
He's
Oh.
looking at the budget,
And it did
page 25 of the
48.
budget book.
Yeah,
Budget book.
25,
Sorry.
budget book.
Yeah,
So,
Budget book.
yeah,
that's a total different.
so under government,
Sorry.
the first section.
Right, the total personal expenses.
Which is
Services.
only for a certain couple different employees.
Okay,
So so the admin section, part of my salary is included, part of her salary is included, part of,
I'm just looking at it for a comparison for a
Right.
percentage.
right. So I generally, there's not a set percent in there. I gave enough room for consideration for talks like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, there's a chance if you go, for instance, if you went for the 7.3, let's say that is, we'd probably go over in these lines. But there is cushion elsewhere in the budget that allows for that.
what's council's thoughts? I mean, last week, and we had 3 council members that were gone, but I think the council members that were here had kind of come around, I think, like about a 5% raise, and then there was some discussion about whether it would be, say, a 3.5% and then like a 1.5% bonus check versus just a 5% raise across the board with no bonus check. I think was kind of where we were at.
Do we have to do this all in one motion?
Not necessarily. Are you talking the increase or the wage
First, the
scale?
increase, yeah.
Yeah, no, the wage.
The increase would, my motion will coincide with the increase on the pay scale.
Okay. No, if you're talking like making a motion and then making another motion for the bonus,
Right.
yeah, I think you could do it 2 motions.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why you couldn't.
And then a separate thing would be the wage scale increase, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, the first motion I'd like to make is a 4% pay increase across the board for all city employees based on current salaries.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Jeff, can you go on with where we're going with this, just so we can hear it all played
Okay,
out,
so
please?
my following motions will be a one-time bonus of $500 per employee. I think that affects the 4% affects the higher end employees more than the lower end, but the one-time bonus of $500 affects everybody in a manner that I think, and then I think we need to move on to adjusting our base pay scale by the 4% accordingly.
Okay. All right.
And I'm one of 8,
Okay.
so speak up.
Okay. Do I have a second on that motion?
I would second that.
Okay. All right. Now, further discussion.
I'm at a
I guess.
5% across the board, no bonus. Some of them bonuses are a slap in the face.
Okay.
I think that's why you went with just a $500 straight across the board. That's take home, 500 take home, correct? After taxes?
There'd be, yeah, there'd be no way to
It'd
figure that.
have to be prior tax legally. Yeah.
It would, I would think it'd be difficult.
And to that end, I'm okay with that structure, but I think it needs to be higher because 500 after taxes doesn't end up like a lot,
No, it
really,
doesn't.
for anybody.
No.
And things are going up.
And they're probably, for the most part, gonna stay up.
I had a phone call today. I pay an extra $100 a month for medicine now. Their reasoning was, things go up.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the reasoning.
Yeah.
So that's an extra $1,200 a year I got.
Well, I heard the same thing about supply chain disruptions, but I heard the same thing for years and years about fuel surcharges. Guess what never went away?
Yeah.
Well, and truth to it or not, all them gas places are talking $4 a gallon gas this year. It's gonna be hard.
So on a $500 bonus, what would typically be across the board, just,
Probably take 35% off.
That's what I
at
always
least.
bank on, yeah.
At least 35, some more.
Hot. 300.
That's what I was guessing, they'd probably take about 300.
I mean, on conservative side, I'd say 30%, so 350.
Yeah.
So just, 'cause I know where I get 35 taken out of mine.
Most of
Everybody else, yeah.
And that's what changed me from the last meeting, is when you sit down and figure the bonus, if it's not high enough, it's not as big a help as everybody thinks.
But if you take the number of employees with the 4% increase, plus the $500 bonus, you're looking at 5.5% maybe? maybe?
No,
I don't
You're
know.
looking at 4%. Because that doesn't get me nothing when I'm sitting out there plowing snow while everybody's asleep. That gets me nothing when I'm sitting in a hole knee deep in the water. That bonus gets me nothing. And yes, it's overtime, but let's be honest, our overtime is not like in great conditions. It's usually some of the worst conditions we can give somebody. Friday night. Take your hands off the deal with water. It's 10 degrees out, it's cold. I mean, I even had a deal this last summer where I went up and saw the guys because where they were working at couldn't be done during business hours. And they were still there at 8:30 at night. And they're up there by the clinic, up there by my house, just changing out I think it was valves and meters and stuff, and the clinic and stuff said, well, you're not doing it today. You can do it after 5 o'clock. Which, I know that can be planned, but
They were up there on that street they did all that in 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 hours. It was,
yeah. That's what I say. I mean, Lori, it's 4% is 4%.
I know, I was just saying number-wise, dollar amount-wise, you're looking at 5.5% with the bonus, the same amount of money.
So I think right now, there was a motion on the floor and you second it, so we need to rescind.
Yeah, we're discussing.
We need to, yeah.
Then he'll take a vote, yeah.
Call the question and vote.
Yeah, when everybody's done, talking, then we'll vote on it.
Well, I figure it like $725 and you take 30% of that, you're right at $500, like 506, 507.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do, you need to vote on the motion. Where you're at.
Call the question.
All right. No further discussion?
Go for it.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Who were the ayes?
I had 3 ayes or 4?
3 ayes. Motion failed.
Okay, failed, 3-5.
3-5.
Write down my nays here, wait a minute. Thank you.
So, is there money in the budget if we would do like a $750 per employee
That's,
bonus?
and what? I mean,
A 4% increase,
All
cost of
That was
living?
all he was voting on, was a 4%.
I know, but with
Okay.
$500,
Yeah, the only thing I was voting on was.
Was it?
Yeah, it
Oh,
was just on
4%?
That was the only motion that was on the, on the
Okay.
table.
for some reason I thought it was all together.
No,
because you said it.
no, I just,
No,
wanted-
he was
I
just
just,
explaining.
Yeah,
I
he
wanted to
did.
hear the whole
Where
plan
he's
of where I was at.
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
So,
Well,
So
okay,
that's
I'll move for a 5% across the board. And that's it.
Yep, no,
No
No
bonus,
bonus.
purely 5% across the board.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion on that?
I think 5% is the minimum we should go. I mean, I was willing to go up to 5.5% across.
And I thought about that too, but I also think that we do have to let the next year play out a little bit.
Yeah. So that's why I thought 5% would be the minimum I think we should consider.
Well, you weren't here last time, and it's like I told Jeff, I was at 3.5 with a 1.5 bonus until I found out what the bonus was. Then the bonus went away from me. I'm not a big fan of bonuses to begin with. I believe you need to pay your employees what they're worth all the time.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 8-0.
8-0.
Yeah,
5%.
5% across the board.
5%, no bonus.
I would ask, can we do that retroactive to the beginning of this payroll, which was Sunday?
Yeah.
So it starts at the beginning of a payroll.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Do I need a second?
I'd make another
You need that
motion.
another
I'd make
motion?
another motion for that, yeah.
Okay, I move that we make it retroactive to January 1,
No, January not, January 10th.
January 10th, sorry.
Or, no, that's the
Well,
old
whenever
calendar,
that-
sorry.
yeah.
It's the 9th,
You
because
can see that calendar from here.
I didn't switch them yet. Just, our payroll starts on Monday, so it just makes it easier for us not to have to adjust.
Or it starts on Sunday.
Sunday, yes.
January 9th.
January 9th, if that's okay.
All right, I had a motion. I have a second.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Which, are we gonna do the
And
wage
Todd,
scale?
did you make the motion?
I did.
To start on January 9th, Sunday?
January 9th,
Retro,
yep.
okay,
Yep.
thank you, that makes it so much easier for payroll.
And this does not affect any of our seasonal, does it? Like our pool employees?
Doesn't affect
So we might
anything
at some
municipal.
later point look at the pool
The
wages.
existing people. Yeah, the pool, the pool.
The pool is a
It's a whole
separate,
separate, yeah.
it's got a whole separate
It's got its own rules and
policy and
regulations.
whatever.
I'm just saying it's another thing we'll have to discuss down the road.
Yeah, well,
So-
if you raise your pay scale, then that
Yeah.
changes.
So, as a follow-up, after these adjustments are made, can we compare where we're at now with the different steps compared to where they're gonna be? And then we can have a second discussion about where we wanna put our base pay starting? I'd like to see what happens here and then
See how it plays out.
see how
We
it
can-
plays out.
Yeah, we can wait to adjust the wage scale until we have more information.
The base scale, you mean?
The base scale
Yeah.
is what
So
we're
we'll
not worried
just change this to 5% from where we are.
Wait,
Not-
so
not-
we're just
not the base
adjusting the
scale.
employees.
Yeah.
The
what he's-
employees.
Yeah.
Right, but you want to see a paper with,
Well, yeah, where we're at now and, you know, where we're sitting based on number of guys or guys and gals that are at this area and then kind of make a decision. Lori, did you have something?
I just like this whole thing with everybody's. So, evaluations, are they done on a yearly basis?
Yearly basis, yes.
And then, so this annual longevity bonus, is that the only, I wouldn't call it a bonus, but whatever it is that just like, they just get $150 added to every paycheck?
oh,
No,
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 that's
it's
annual.
one check.
Once a
That's
year?
annual.
And then they get another raise after their evaluation, correct?
Depending on how they get it, it's 20 cents, 30 cents, or 40 cents, and usually it's 20 or 30 cents is where it ends up being.
But we need to reevaluate that.
Might have to. Your longevity is, like mine at the county's, $10.
That's nice.
Well, if you, the county's is, like, if you've been there 5 years, it's 120 a year. But if you've been there 10 years, it's
$10 a month.
240 a year.
$10 a month.
Right. But if you multiply that out.
And then salt.
So if, in 15 years, it'd be 420. Here in 15 years, you get
YouTube Red
200.
subscription or
So
something.
it is a lot more.
I don't even know if it covers that.
Theirs, if you've been there 20 years, it's 660. We have.
You
just
probably
under
got
2 years.
max.
I don't think I'll live long enough.
To be there 30 years? You might.
All right. Are there any other questions, concerns? We can make all the adjustments and bring
Bring it
those
back.
back
Yep.
where, and
We're
show
back.
everybody where it's at. That's what I want. Okay. The last thing on my list, is financials. Year end, the general fund, we ended relatively good. Although expenditures were high in December due to the extra payroll, that's why we were so low. We paid all the payroll we anticipated at the end of December. The general fund was reduced by $150,000, but we rolled over $300,000 more than anticipated into 2022. The reduction was due to us saving up for the fire station and making payments or buying all the equipment and paying for services from inline. So that was anticipated reduction. The water fund was reduced by about $200,000. from 2020 due to the large water line project that was completed in 2021. That was a combination. We skipped at least 1 year of water line project, if not 2 years. We kind of,
With 19, we did a smaller project.
we did a smaller project in
And then we
19.
skipped 20.
And then,
we did the big one in
we
21.
did 2 water line projects basically,
Yeah.
last year because it saved us money. Opening up opening up a section one time versus 2 times to make connections. It was just a smart way to go. So in turn, our water fund got decreased. To the years coming up, we kind of have a reduced water line project load until we build that back up. The sewer fund surpassed where it was at in 2021 by about $60,000. We were trying to build that back up. Sales tax fund saw a decrease of about $270,000 from 2020. We did 2 street projects. We also, this was the year we had to make an adjustment for paying back the pool bonds. So that was well worth the reduction in sales tax. Other than that, we're looking good for 2022. Does anybody have any questions on that?
The one request I had was, with some of the things that are going on at the state level with the sales tax. Have we looked in to see what percentage of the revenue we have coming in from sales tax would be affected if the sales tax on food went away? And how does that affect the city if they came down and said, well, no, food goes away?
Right now, what's being proposed at the state is only happening, it's only going to affect the 6.5% that the state takes in. They're not looking anywhere near our portion of sales tax.
Right, but do we get any kind of a reimbursement from the state? None
No.
whatsoever?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to.
No, they get their they do pay us our sales tax, but, because the, provider, let's say Walmart, they pay the state, and the state sends it right down to us. But no, the only proposals on deck right now, have to do with the 6.5% that the state, retains.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I don't have a mechanism, right now to look at, food versus anything else. I think they're looking at unprepared foods, and what that looks like, is a confusion, because if you look at other states, they have different, methods of saying what's unprepared.
Different standards and definitions.
Different standards, different definitions, all the way down to, does this candy bar have a cookie inside of it or not? It's kind of crazy. So, but I'm not too worried about it right now, because I'm being told not to worry about it. Yeah. Any other questions? If none, I have nothing else.
I put a policy change in that you'll see, that I've had requests from several people, employees and such, that they would just like to give the new warehouse facility, or
Mustang
fitness,
Strong.
Mustang Strong, the new fitness facility, equal eligibility. People could use that as well as the other. Nothing else changes, we just add their name. So they can go there as opposed to the other, because now we have 2 facilities in town. 7 times, the whole thing, everything is the same.
Not a judgment call on any facilities, just a general question. Do we make sure, do we do any kind of auditing of what insurance or, protocols these places, since we're.
I did ask about their
Just 'cause-
insurance,
to
and
make
she
sure we're
said
apples
yes.
to apples, that's
Right,
a
no,
concern
I did ask.
people have had, is that.
No, I did ask if they had insurance and all of that, and she does. I did not get proof, but I don't have
I was gonna
proof
say,
from the other one either.
Well, and to that end, it might not be a bad idea for us to get proof, because if it's something they have and we're a customer, I can't imagine they would hide that coverage? Like,
No.
they would want to
I mean,
show it
we've
off?
never, because
Just to make
you
sure it's apples and
personally are
apples.
going, so it's
Yeah.
kind of between you and them.
Well, right,
And how they'll
but
bill you.
we're-
So we've never, ever asked for
I
insurance before.
still look at it, if we're putting city funds to something, it's a de facto endorsement on some level. And
Right,
If
no,
it's
and
something
they
like
just-
that, that might not be a bad thing
I
to have
can
on
see if I
file.
can check it out, but
Okay.
yes, everything else stayed the same, it just added their facility to the policy, that's all.
Now, this doesn't include spouses or anything like,
They both do. If you have to pay extra for them. No, ours does not. What we pay for does not include your spouse.
Right.
But you can pay them extra. They don't make you pay a full membership, or at least they didn't where I went. So I'm sure these guys don't either, to add your spouse or your family. You pay that directly to them. So we're not involved in that. We are not a rebiller. If you don't go enough times, we don't pay for it and try to get the money back from you. They bill you direct. So we don't want to be in the rebill game. That's why.
Are the costs the same?
Relatively. I think the Mustang Strong is a little higher, but they're open 24/7 with a card. You can come in anytime, 24/7.
Maybe want to make a motion?
Move to change the fitness policy change on G11 to put the Mustang Strong facility into it.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And the other is really information. The second thing I put in here, I had two representatives come to my office we have an agreement from 2017 that they would give us $80,000 from the disbanded Rural Water District Number 2 toward the roads, because they had money that they had left when they disbanded. And they said because we had done 2/3, we have done part of 11th, and we're doing the engineering on 12th this year. They would give us 2/3 of the money, and then wait till we do something on Keystone to give us the following 24,000. So I wanted to thank them publicly, so everybody knew, and that you guys were all aware that we did get 2/3 of that money.
Next up, we have what? Anthony? Yep.
This one's on the vehicle.
This is the view.
Yep.
Oh, this one's on the vehicle
On
first?
the vehicle,
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for allowing me to come up and speak to you. We have a vehicle purchase request that we'd like to propose. It's in line with the time for us to purchase the vehicle, and we put together our recommendations for it, and thankfully, our recommendation also come in as the lowest bid as well, so benefit for both financially for the city, and it provides for what it is we're looking for. So our request is to purchase a 2022 Ford Explorer Police Interceptor, black in color, from Honeyman Ford of Marysville. We're hoping to purchase here locally in the amount of $33,728 with upfitting provided by Superior Emergency Response Vehicles out of Andover for up to $8,621. Total combined price of $42,349. And with that $8,600, we'll obviously do the best that we can to spend less than that. However, that's the max that we've been quoted for what that upfitting will entail. So here are the bids that we put in. Nordis declined to bid. They didn't have any fleet vehicles that were available for us in Chevy. Honeyman Ford, the 22 Ford Explorer, which is what we'd like to get, they came in at $33,728. And the 22 Ford F-150 came in a little higher at $35,870. We reached out to Nemaha Valley Motors to see what Dodge had available for us, And at the time, they told us no Durangos were available. They also told us that no Chargers were available. The only thing that they had available at the time, which may or may not be available any longer, is the Ram truck. And theirs came in at $37,000 even. We also contacted Serve to ask what their price would be for the 2022 Ford Explorer, and that came in at $35,814. So, justification for the paint color, what we're looking for is we're hoping to brand MPD and distinguish our vehicles from a lot of the vehicles that are on the road. If you drive down the road, even on the way over here, I saw a survey vehicle, white Ford truck, also had a light on top, right? And so what we're hoping is twofold. One is that those that we pull over understand that it's Marysville Police Department pulling them over, right? They can't say later on, oh, we thought it was a city truck, or we thought it was a surveyor truck, whatever the case might be. They know that it's Marysville Police Department vehicle pulling them over. And also, we want to brand the department as a exciting, forward-thinking department. Something that looks modern, something that speaks to the vitality of the community, right? And so we're hoping that this kind of change in graphics and color will also help us in recruiting. It'll reflect the community well and look well and provide the kind of image that Marysville deserves. Any questions on the color?
Looks nice in the graphics.
Thank you, sir. We thought so also.
Will those be added here after the vehicle's here, or will Superior at Andover do that?
No, I don't think Superior out of Andover does that. We'll be contracting that out as well, though. And so we'll move on to the justification of the Explorer versus that of a truck. If you take a look at the photos, there's a very distinctive difference for the way the equipment is stored easily in the truck. And so if you take a look at what the vehicle will be doing, what we'll be using it as a tool, the Explorer handles more nimbly. It allows us to turn around on city streets much easier than a truck does. And it's safer for the officer who's driving that vehicle. If you look at the photos, the equipment, we do the best that we can. We've tried everything from Velcro to straps, trying to secure our equipment that is necessary in that truck, and we just can't find a great way to do it inside there. And so, in the event of a emergency pursuit, something that, unfortunate, causes some erratic driving, that stuff pops forward into the driver. And the last thing you need during a pursuit or something in a driving emergent is other distractions hitting you from the back seat. So all of those things combined, we believe, makes the Explorer a much better fit for the type of job that we do here within the city. Any questions on the request for the Explorer? Okay.
Will you be retiring a vehicle?
Yes, we have one right now. It's the marked Explorer that has just over 110,000 miles right now.
And I would comment that I love the idea that you're putting your name on the side of the vehicles.
Thank you, sir.
I think that's a very important thing.
I
It shows presence.
Thanks, sir. So, we put the bids in the back. Like I said, we believe that the right vehicle for us, fortunately for us, came in at the lowest bid as well. And so that's why our request is that of the Ford Explorer. Look forward to answering any questions you guys might have, if you have any on this.
We've budgeted for this year too for this one, correct?
Yeah, this is in the budget.
Okay.
Yep.
Move to approve purchase of the 22 Ford Explorer from Honeyman Ford, $33,728.
Second.
Do we want to put
Yeah, do you want to put
upfitting on
the
there also?
upfitting
Yeah,
on?
I'll get that as soon as he's done with this.
Okay.
Yeah, second motion, yeah.
I did.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
And then the upfitting provided by Superior Emergency Response Vehicles of Andover in the amount of $8,621.93.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. Aye.
Thank you very much.
Now And we've got the Kalia.
Yeah, he's gonna plug his computer in, and then,
We're coming up for a pretty exciting time for our Kalia accreditation process. So wanted to take a few moments and talk through a little bit of history, the process of getting accredited, some of the changes that we've made and what's coming up for us. So please stop me if you've got any questions along the way. I'll do my best to answer them, okay? So Kalia is the Commission of Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. What they do is they believe that they set the gold standard for law enforcement operations across the board. Kalia is recognized as a preeminent leader in development and application of public safety standards, not only in the United States but internationally. It was created in the 70s and been around for a long time. The agency came about during a time of upheaval, and it was formed by four conglomerates that came together that created Kalia. The International Association of Chiefs of Police, the largest professional law enforcement entity, has over 30,000 members in over 135 different countries. PERF, the Police Executive Research Forum, came about in the early 70s as well. And what PERF does is it puts together lessons learned from all police activities. They do the best that they can to come out with best practices and lessons learned from outcomes that probably didn't go very well. If you're ever looking for some nighttime reading, they've got some remarkable 300-page documents in there. All joking aside, they do great work. Noble's been around in the 70s. Their focus at the time was to come out with strategies to help combat crime in inner cities. And then the final one was the National Sheriff's Association. Been around since the 40s. The largest group here domestically with regards to sheriffs and deputies and jailers and bailiffs, things of that nature. So those are the four plank holders and stakeholders that built and developed Kalia. These founding organizations contributed to the concept and continue to contribute to the concept today. So the Kalia board is comprised of 21 commissioners that are appointed by those founding organizations. The commissioners serve a 3-year period that are not paid, which I think is important to note. Commissioners come from a broad range, a true multidisciplinary approach to law enforcement and public safety. Here's an idea of some of the commissioners' backgrounds: municipal chiefs of police, collegiate professors, state senators, mayors, city managers, judges, and related business fields. So they bring all of the stakeholders involved, appoint them to these commissions. So it's not a singular focus, right? It's not just other police chiefs or practitioners in the field that are coming up with these ideas. It's various different backgrounds. As you can see, we are in the north central region. The southern states are Kansas and Missouri, going all the way up into Canada. And there's an international client base with Kalia. Over 1,000 agencies enrolled in Kalia worldwide. So pretty big organization. So here's where Kalia is right now. It's in the 6th revision or 6th edition for law enforcement standards, which is where it started. For the basic law enforcement accreditation, which is what we're working on, we have to meet 181 standards. Not 90% of that, but all 181 standards. For the advanced, which is an incredible undertaking, 459 standards. They also accredit communications or dispatch areas. They have 207 standards. They accredit training academies, which the Kansas Law Enforcement Training Academy is currently in the process of getting accredited. And they're in the 2nd edition for campus security or campus law enforcement as well. This is how the standards come to be. There's a standard review and interpretation committee that takes a look at recommendations across the nation, and they determine whether or not it should be up for discussion. They talk to the subject matter experts in the field, allow for input from clients. I believe that's important too. So once we're accredited, we'll have the opportunity to provide input on any revisions or changes in the standards. The goal is to apply best practice from a professional mindset, not just a job, but we are a profession, no question about it. And striving to maintain a contemporary source for clients to develop and maintain best practices. Here's an example of what one actually looks like. Each standard is composed of 4 parts: the standard title, standard statement, commentary, and then the levels for compliance. So there is our standard title, 4.2.4, analyze reports from use of force, which we're required to do every year, which we've completed. Annually, the agency conducts analysis of its use of force activities, policies, and practices. These are the things that it should identify: date and time, types of encounters resulting in force, trends or patterns related to race, age, or gender of subjects involved, trends or patterns resulting in injury to any person, including employees, and the impact of findings on policies, practices, equipments, and training. So after every use of force, we evaluate whether it followed policy and procedure. We evaluate whether or not anything in addition could have been done. We identify whether there's any training or policy issues that we could learn from that incident. Here's the commentary. A review of the incident of force may reveal patterns or trends, indicate training needs, equipment upgrades, all of those kinds of things. Then on the bottom, that shows the amount of compliance. The M's are a symbol of what size of agency we are. We're actually on the far right, M stating that it's mandatory and that it is mandatory for a law enforcement 1 accreditation. Okay? So that's what a standard looks like. And we've already met this use of force standard, so at any time we could give you the information behind this one. So the process to go about getting accredited. You enroll in the program. Luckily, we were awarded a grant to get started. We conducted a self-assessment. We took a look at all of the policies and determined whether or not they were outdated or not. Then went about on the undertaking of developing policies and practices that fit within Kalia guidelines. One of the enormous benefits about Kalia is they provide model policies, right? And so even if you're grossly out of whack as far as the best practice goes, not because of anything that is intentional, sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, right? And so they provide these policies and say, hey, here's something that we believe is a best practice and here's a model policy to take a look at to guide you as you develop your own. And then you can take a look at that and alter it to make sure it fits the needs of you and your community and your department. Initial assessment. Assessors from across the nation log on to all of your policies and all of your paperwork. We have to upload evidence that we've met these standards, and so externally they start logging into our system and start evaluating whether we're meeting our standards and whether they have anything additionally to add. Then they come and assess. So we can't just get away with telling them we're doing things right. They're going to come here and make sure to see that we're doing things right. We receive a report. It can be one of 3 things. Passed, all standards were met, which we're told never happens. That just never happens, even upon reaccreditation. Typically what happens is they say passed as long as you make these additional corrections. Obviously, it's got to be small, or if you're completely out of tune, then it'll be a failure, and they'll tell you to restart the process. So that's good to know that the pass with a couple of minor alterations is still considered a win. Commission review, they take a look at all of the findings and the audits and award you initial accreditation if you've earned it. Then you move on to annual reaccreditation. So Kalia, you don't just meet accreditation, rah, we made it and we're done. This is a continual striving for excellence. And I appreciate that because things change, right? And sometimes you don't get out and see what's working in other departments, and whether it be large or small, but outside of our region. We do a great job of talking and mingling with and sharing ideas with departments in our region. It's a lot more difficult to talk to those that are a little bit farther away. And so we get to hear what they're coming up with as best practices and letting us know what they believe is working and not working. And then the reaccreditation process begins, site-based assessment, commission review, and then reaccreditation awarded as long as we've earned it.
How far along is Marysville on?
Great question. I'll get to it in just a second.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question. So here's a handful of the benefits, and this is some of the feedback from Kalia that they believe is the benefit. Comprehensive written directive based on best practices. Like I talked about, they provide those model policies. We can fine tune them to make sure they fit for the community that we want and the policing that we want here. Continuous assessment process. You can never get stale and stay accredited with Kalia. It just is not possible. Reports and analysis to make informed management decisions. I think those are all important things to make sure that we're paying attention to what our reports are telling us. You know, sometimes it's nothing, but sometimes it's not nothing. And so what these reports force us to do is make sure that we're analyzing if there's anything behind it. Preparedness programs, which I'll talk about a little bit in a moment and give you an example of Landals. Improved relationships with the community. We're fortunate, incredibly fortunate to have a great relationship with our community. And that's from every aspect of this community. Young, old, every side of town, it doesn't matter. So making sure that you're policing the right way ensures that that stays that way. And so a lot of departments don't have that luxury. They're fighting to build and create a good relationship with the community. We're just fighting to make sure we keep it. And we understand that. Strengthen the agency's accountability. Again, forcing us to take a look at those reports. Limits liability and risks exposure, because if we're operating within good policy and best practices, we're going to have less lawsuits. Assist agency in the pursuit of excellence, because good just isn't good enough. This community deserves better. There's no question about it. So this is where we are in the process. August of 2020, we received a Calea Agency Support Program grant to cover the initial cost. So that's when everything started turning for us. September of 2020 started the self-assessment phase and utilized the rest of 2020 to rewrite the policy book. If you take a look at the previous policy book to the new policy book, it is remarkable how good it is. It really is, and it was done in an incredibly short amount of time. That was before I was here, so those before me get enormous credit for how good our policy book is right now. December 2020, met with the Police and Fire Committee for approval of the policy book and conducted training with all staff. So once a policy comes out, every staff member has to be trained on it. So now that the policies are in place, annually we go in and we audit, make sure nothing's changed, make sure that it's still part of our practice. It's great to have something in policy, but if you're not actually doing it, it's harmful, right? So a year later, now we're starting the process of making sure that we're evaluating it and making sure that it still meets our needs. And that's where we are now in year 2. So January 2021, we began collecting data and showing proof of compliance. For us to move to the next step, you have to have 1 year's worth of data. And so that ended December 31st. So your question is, where are we at now? So September 21, we requested Riley County to come in and do an audit. A mock audit, if you will, and they gave us incredible feedback. 9 pages of feedback. All very small stuff, nothing fundamental. We were in really great shape, but 9 pages of notes on how to prove that we're meeting standards better, how to report better, things of that nature, so they gave us incredible feedback. So January 2022, we scheduled a mock assessment with other Calea practitioners. KHP and over in Riley County will all be here this Friday to do our mock assessment. So these next dates are tentative, sometime between April and July, sometime in that general time frame. We will begin our actual online assessment through Calea, in hopes that sometime between July and August, we'll have our on-site assessment. All of that can change, obviously, by availability of the assessors, but that's when we're hoping. So here's some photos of what pre and post Calea standards look like. This was our evidence room before we started the Calea process. Not terrible. This is our evidence room now. So what we were able to do is go through and analyze whether we were keeping evidence past the required time to keep it. And also, we updated the way that we log and track our evidence. So at any given time, we can go in and take a look, and if we need a piece of evidence for the DA or because we're returning property to somebody else, we know exactly where that is within that evidence room. We conducted a audit a week ago today, every single piece in our evidence room, and it took us 1 hour to verify that every single piece was where it was supposed to be. I think that's pretty incredible, 1 hour. So on the right is our evidence processing area. We've updated that quite a bit, and so under small scenarios, when we've only got a handful of pieces of evidence, it's still great, but it's not nearly as important. It's when we have those times when we come down with 30, 40, 50 pieces of evidence. And we established that room downstairs to where you can work from one side to the other, and everything that you need to package and appropriately put evidence together and place it in that evidence room is all right there, with the exception of a computer. So right now what we have to do is we have to go down there, process it, and we have to take it upstairs and put it in on a computer to log that evidence in so that the evidence custodian, there's only 2 of us that have access to the evidence room, can go and log the evidence into the actual evidence room. Only 2, 1 the primary and 2 the backup. That way if anything ever comes up not where it's supposed to be or out of whack, we know there's only 2 people responsible. Because if everybody's responsible, nobody is, right? Updated our records room. This is a photo of the records room prior to some guidance from Kalia, and that is what it looks like now. Weeks and weeks and weeks of scanning and document and making the files that we were able to make digital, making them digital. Those that are in there are only the ones that we still need for criminal law, right? So there's a certain amount of time based on the type of crime that it is that we have to have that case file, and those are stacked in there neatly and nicely based on us still having to have them. So Power DMS, we talked about some of the other ones, and those are all great, but really, in my opinion, where the rubber meets the road with Kalia is with Power DMS for the end user, for the officers out on the street, which ultimately is the ones out there doing the job, right? So at any given time, all of our policies, all of our training, and all of our emergency operation plans are available to them. So if they have a smartphone or the ability to pull up something and the ability to look at it wireless, so our vehicles now have mobile hotspots. So now it kind of just depends on whether the officer has a cell phone that's capable of moving quickly. They can pull up our policies. So the policy in itself isn't really what's powerful. What I think is powerful with Power DMS and Kalia is what those policies have to say. So here's a listing of what they are, and so let's just say we're looking for a missing person. Thankfully, we don't have missing persons happen a lot. But if they're able to pull up their policy on their phone or some mobile device, they can go down and look exactly down their checklist. Because anybody who's been in one of those situations where things are coming at you fast and hard, the fog is real, right? And you might get those first steps or 2 downright because you're trained well and you know what to do. However, when you get down to steps E, D, F, and G, sometimes that's when you start missing those steps. So this allows you to take a second, right? It might take you 15 or 20 or 30 seconds to pull that up when you have time to make sure that you haven't missed anything in that check sheet. In addition to that, it shows what the supervisor responsibilities are. So very real life applications. These aren't just the policies that help protect us as a city and us as a department. These are policies that help the end user and the citizen get better service out there. Within Power DMS, we've got emergency operation plans. So all of these that have provided for us some of their emergency operation plans and maps. So let's just say it's Landalls. We click on Landalls. Something horrific is happening there. We find the location where it's happening, and we're able to pull up Landalls main office map. Any of you that have actually had to plan some sort of operation out on the fly understand how important this might be. And so for you to be able to meet up at the back of an Explorer, put putting together an operations plan based on a real-life map is invaluable. So, just a quick overview of Kalia, the history behind Kalia, some of the benefits that it has. Do you guys have any questions for me with regards to Kalia? No?
Glad when we got it started, butting it back in 2020 with the grant.
Yes,
Looks
sir.
like
We're trucking along.
we're trucking along on it.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Yeah, it's
We're
gonna be
working hard, and we're taking it serious. Everybody's bought in. This is one of the programs that I feel really, really good about for our department.
Anthony, you got most of them layouts for businesses like that? Wow.
That's a snapshot. Oh, I can't open it out. That's
No, I
just a
can't open it, but what I'm looking at is
Mhm.
you guys don't understand what that brings to my
Incredible.
world.
Incredible.
Well, I can ask you on a fire scene and know what's going on.
Absolutely.
They share that with the fire department too. I know land, I don't know about.
Right.
I don't think we have the access like
they
have.
But your incident commander could link up with one of us out there, and we could pull up
Right,
what you need.
that's what I'm saying, is, I mean, it's access in the back of the vehicle that is.
Yes, sir.
Are all the city buildings included in this as well?
Yes.
I didn't realize they had that many. That's what's impressive. I mean, that's a lot of business.
That's a lot of work.
It is.
It is,
that's a lot of work.
that's tremendous work right there.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to see a program that you could work with the high school, like on, maybe have kids how to defend themselves when they get to college and stuff like that.
Sure.
Because it scares the hell out of me. It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have a daughter in college. You will too, and I will too, but maybe like work with the high school, during, like having a PE class or something, how to, just
General
how to
self-defense?
defend yourself.
Of course.
They used to conduct.
Yeah, even if you focus a little bit on the female side. of
Yeah,
it.
I mean, the last thing I want to see is my daughter's face on a poster,
Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't want to ever see that.
Yeah, no, I completely understand what you're asking for. Actually, while I was at Washburn, we created a women's self-defense program for Washburn, and it was pretty, well received. Sororities had us teach it often, and we had weekly meetings for those that were interested. I will reach out to the high school and see if they're interested. Yes, sir?
Because didn't David Odie start that? Did he have something to do with that?
I attended.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was ever for high schoolers, was it?
It's
Or
a
was it for
general-
the-
It was general, and anybody
General.
could come.
Okay.
There were some high school kids, he brought his daughter, who could take him down.
I bet
if
you'll
she
get
wanted.
better buy-in from high school kids if you have that as a targeted group. I'm not saying there shouldn't
Absolute-
be
no,
one.
no,
for-
no, I
you know,
agree
High
with
school
you.
kids are like, I don't go to an old lady, no offense.
All right,
Well, and,
But
you're
do
right.
better with their peers is what.
yeah,
yeah,
Correct.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it could be a PE, whatever, you know.
I will reach out to him. We're actually working on a couple of other projects right now. Mr. Price and I were just talking about one earlier tonight, and so next time I'm over there, which will probably be Wednesday or Thursday, I'll bring that up to him. Yeah, great idea.
Anything else?
Nope. I sincerely appreciate your time.
No,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
very
Anthony.
much. And next up, we got Will with a lot of prices.
Yeah, I got a lot of prices here for you guys. I just went through and worked up the fence in all the different ways I could think of. That way you guys had the price for whichever way you were thinking. We need to do something, of course, get center field back in. So the first one that I did was for just doing center field, and we replaced posts all the way down both sides and the main board runners. And then we'd try to reuse the boards that are there, the pickets that are there on left and right field, and buy new pickets for center field. That one came up around anywhere from 18,000, 23 for doing cedar. which is the way I'd suggest going is the cedar, because pine's just gonna rot away. I just went with cedar and pine because that's the two that are in the fence now. There's both of those boards there now, so.
This here is strictly for the structure, this first bid,
Yes. So,
no pickets,
there's,
just
well,
posts.
the 18,000 to the 23, is that the one?
Yes,
Yes, that, has the pickets in there too.
that does have the pickets.
It's
in
got it for doing the pickets just in center field on 1x8s.
Okay, the first one's just center field.
You're on
just center
page
field.
81, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
just-
so just, so
Because
we're,
this is confusing, because he's got 97, that doesn't go from right field clear to left field for post.
No. Well, 97 post is all of it.
yes,
All post.
Okay, because see, it breaks it down in each piece, that's why I'm asking, this is
Right.
so confusing to me.
Okay.
When I was looking at this.
Yeah, cause it does, cause over here it's 36 post and then 27
Yeah.
post.
Yeah, because then it's got, the 82's got 36 posts from Landals, and 27 on 83, and,
Right here it says left field. Right here.
I know,
Yeah,
but
but your
this here
front-
includes
I know.
all of
Doesn't-
it, not just
doesn't-
center
and
field.
Yes,
it's not
this is-
your
this
whole
is-
That's
field.
what I said.
This is
it's
all the post,
confusing.
all the post everywhere, but just center field for,
for
new pickets.
New pickets.
As I said, it's confusing when you
So-
look at it the way
Yeah.
it's drawn up, so
Yeah,
that's.
sorry about that.
This
So
is,
how tall are the pickets at the field now?
They're right at 90, 91 inches, depending on where you're measuring, so I was gonna have to cut each one of these 8-footers down unless we just raise the fence 6 inches.
raise the fence.
Raise the
That's
fence.
what I was
Keep the
thinking.
nostalgia.
Raise the
Raise
fence
the
to
fence.
6 inches.
Yeah, no, don't,
Save
don't,
you, save you some
Yep.
time.
because
So
if you can
that
buy
would
the
be,
wood that's pre-cut, and all
Yeah,
we gotta do is paint it and slap it up.
yep.
so then that brings us back to the, how you guys wanna go about this. I mean, the best case scenario would be replace the whole fence. We don't have the time before, March to do the whole fence, so we would do just the center field at this point in time, and go back in after the season and do the rest. But we would replace the posts, the idea would be to replace the post all.
Well, if we do it just center field, we can do it, replacing all the posts, but if we do that, we gotta take down
All the
left
fence.
field and right field and rebuild the whole fence.
Right.
So at that point, it's kind of a toss-up on
Is,
that. We can do it to where we just do center field, that was one,
is left field gonna take another spring abuse of storms?
that, we can go in and look, I know there's some places that are leaning, we'd have to go in and brace.
Yeah, I mean, they're leaning bad and they're cracked and I hate not having the time, I'm not gonna lie.
Right. The other question was, details. If you do the whole fence, let's just talk about the whole fence. If you do the whole fence in 8-inch versus 1 foot, which is 1 foot's what, 1 foot wide is what's out there right now.
Right.
If you do 8-inch, cedar, you save $10,000.
Well, yeah, because 12-inch is a premium size board.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think 8-inch would be okay. I mean, as long as we get the height back, you get the color back.
Right.
And it has to be a wood fence,
Right.
because we've taken a little bit of field away, which everybody understands why,
Right.
but this has gotta go back as a wood fence.
Right.
And I think if you don't do cedar, I think all we're gonna do is keep putting boards in it every year.
Right.
I don't think
Exactly.
we're gonna save any money.
We.
that's what we agreed on in our meeting, is go with all cedar,
Yeah.
not
Right.
pine.
Because the way we see it is, yes, cedar is basically double the price. But you get double the longevity, at the very least, on the cedar, so you skip that labor portion in the middle.
Right.
So you save money long run.
I know when we were up there last time that right field is what has been scabbed together a lot. I mean, my opinion is we do the entire fence, we gain ourselves some time somewhere by not having to come back later on and fix it.
Right.
That's where I'm at. I just wish we could have it all done before the ball season.
That would be nice.
But we definitely have to have center field back in before the ball season.
Okay. Yeah, so then if the more than consensus, but I'll use that word, is to do the whole fence. We could potentially order it, have it ready to go. We can get as much done as possible. Center fence is our priority, as well as bracing up the rest that we can't get to. That offers us the opportunity that while we're painting, spraying it, we can spray it all. And because the fire station is vacant, we would line the entirety of the fire station. That one?
To put it in this one.
Use that one.
You want this one? Okay.
White walls, green paint? No. Absolutely not.
Do this one when the trucks are out.
So we would just have to move the trucks and,
Because like these, you know, this lumber's gonna come in on a pallet,
Yep.
and you're gonna go out with the truck and you're gonna pick the whole pallet up.
Right.
They're gonna take it off their truck, put it on your truck, and they're done with it.
Yep.
right. So utilize the inside. Will's been doing research on longevity of paint, and doing it inside anyways is gonna be the best case scenario.
Right.
And make the paint last longer. This would be an all hands on deck, all departments sort of thing, even.
Paint it.
To paint. Well, even to get some posts in the ground. I mean, I have the police department come in and say, hey, we wanna help, sort of thing. So
I'll bet there's a lot of people in the community that would
love to
come in
help
and
too.
help paint
You
too.
said about painting, there's a lot of people that'll show up to
I
paint.
think there's a lot of
guarantee it.
people on the old rec commission and all that out there that would come in and help paint to get that,
we would
get
definitely.
boards done to get it up.
We would definitely take on volunteers. That would be awesome. So, to get this done in a good amount of time, over the next couple months, at the very least for that center section. And we'll put a call out for volunteers. To circle back around, so we would go with the 8-inch, is it page 90 in here? Is that the final one?
You want the.
Oh, that's
whole-
Chromie, that's Chromie.
Chromies.
Okay,
Hometown is on 85, and it's way
85.
cheaper than Cronies.
Okay, so, quick comparison. Quick comparison. Sunday is 47,710.96. Wow,
10,000.
yes, yeah.
wow.
So the 8-foot cedar, for the total fence on page 85 is, from Hometown Lumber, is $37,284.23. And that includes the concrete, the paint, primer, screws.
That's pretty well everything but the posts. I'm just working with Phil up at Landalls. He was getting us pricing. It was short notice when I talked to him, so he's hopefully in the next couple days will be getting us some prices.
So
Powder-coated posts.
We're actually doing galvanized. That way they aren't gonna be having any problems. I'm having them price it both ways to where we can paint them or galvanize them, but
because that's how they recommended, the posts over at Lakeview is galvanized, they'd last longer.
yeah.
And they'd be behind an 8-foot fence.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to see the galvanized.
I'm about some of this is longevity.
Yeah.
And galvanized. Are they gonna be capped on the top?
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna put rock down on the bottom of the hole too, set the
Right.
post on, and then put concrete around that so that you're not capping off the bottom too. That way, if
Right.
any water ever did get in there, it drains.
Yeah, galvanized, no, I like that.
If you want, we can put the order in. All we need is a motion. I do have to, dash your hopes and dreams on this other item since we really need this. There's no concession stand.
No, I figured that out.
Yeah, so
That'll come later.
it'll come later.
We've been working at it.
This is a problem.
Yeah.
Just quick, there wasn't any type of insurance or anything from all that fence that got knocked down?
We haven't turned that in. We were trying to build up, enough, but if there is some, would find it.
I just didn't know with these prices if it would hit high enough to
Right.
get it. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion for putting up the entire fence out of 1x8 by 8-foot cedars. $37,284.23.
Was it 8-foot cedars you wanted, or?
Yes.
Okay. I
I'll
thought you
second
wanted
that.
Do you think we need a cushion on that, or is that?
These prices,
Well,
they
this
said
is-
they could be fluctuating pretty quick. They said if we wanna order, we can get it ordered, but he can't guarantee these prices. They've been changing weekly.
You got these last week, didn't you?
I got them last week, but they've been changing weekly, so it could,
Up or down?
it could go up or down a little bit.
It's gonna go up, like we've talked about before, like,
Yeah.
like we've been speaking about earlier, it's that these are the new normals for prices, and my fear is that, you know, these companies are seeing record growth based on their prices, and this is not gonna revert back. I'm trying to be optimistic about it, but it's highly unlikely, so.
I think it'll go back a little, but
Maybe.
not
Well,
anywhere back where it was.
and it has gone back down.
Yeah,
I think
I'm just thinking a little, but not anything
They've been
like
on the
it was.
way back up again, though.
Have they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it bottomed and it went up again.
All right, we'll get it ordered before it goes up again.
Well, that's
Okay, we got
that's my thought, if we wait till.
Okay, got a motion and a second,
We got
right?
a motion, we got a second.
Okay,
Or
any
someone
further
second.
discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Will.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you, Will.
Okay, next up, we got standing committees. Does anybody have anything on the street?
Guys did a fine job getting the snow pushed up, removed off the main street and the highway.
Absolutely.
Appreciated that.
I'm still having trouble with our street lights out here occasionally running through the night, or is it just me? I've had a couple people ask me about it.
Yeah, the last power outage knocked it out again. We need to get the guts of our system, at the very minimum, upgraded. I might come with a proposal to just update with cameras and such. That way we don't have to worry about it anymore. But the last time he came through, he said, this is really old and this may stay. There's no guarantee. So he was supposed to come back with prices, but
You do cameras, make sure you put cameras in the turning lanes too.
right. No, we'd set the system up. Technically, you only need one camera because it draws a line, and it's pretty interesting. It's a digital line that shows, okay, it hit in the turn signal, and then that'll hit the turn signal to go. So yeah, you would just need the one camera.
Okay.
Those
Because I
would be
hate,
after a certain hour, right? That you're talking
We're
about?
talking 10th and Center.
No, we wouldn't do the blinking lights. So we would, if we turn to a camera system, it would be set up to the busiest signal is always on, or the busiest traffic. And so if our traffic shows 70 or 36, then that's the priority. But it'll give so like 20th Street.
It'd be like 20th Street.
It'd be just like 20th Street.
Okay, and my only question for that is, how's that gonna work at the end of the school though?
it'll just rotate out
Would
like
it,
it
would
does
it,
at
would it
Landers.
cycle enough to keep things flowing decent?
Yes, and that's what they're designed to do. Basically, so it only really changes if it sees traffic stop going one way. So you got constant flow, constant flow, constant flow. It's not gonna change readily until it sees it's waning down coming from this way. If it sees it coming from the south and they've been waiting for a while, it'll trigger, but as it wanes down. It could be programmed in various different ways, but it's designed to make traffic keep going.
Right, I'm just thinking of, at the end of the day, the school buses start stacking up, and then pretty soon you're clear up around the elementary school, and you've created a traffic problem.
Yep.
I don't think there's much at 20th Street though, I mean.
I've never seen it.
Well, I kind of feel like it would empty 10th Street better, because it'll stay green until it slows down enough.
Yeah.
Because now it does get backed up. I can't get out of the alley sometimes on that west side of the block because traffic's backed. It could solve a problem.
I think 20th Street works great, I just didn't know how it'd work with
Yeah.
3:30 school day and everything else. I didn't know how that worked.
Okay, yeah, no, they design it to make traffic go, so that's the main goal.
What, let me ask one question, I guess. If we ever do the widening out of that area like they've talked about, would updating the traffic signaling be part of that project? And would KDOT cover that, I guess, is what I'm...
It could be a part of the project, yes. The potential of the size of that project, as with a lot of our other KDOT projects, it probably wouldn't matter in the scheme of things. Because typically, KDOT's grants are capped at $1 million, if you get the good projects.
Okay.
We do like $1.6 million, worth of project. Our contribution is, they're looking for 20% of that 1 million so we exceed it on a regular basis.
Okay. I guess what I was just wondering is, I mean, if we would update the lighting and then 3 years from now they widen that out, then are we just tearing out stuff that wouldn't necessarily go back in there or might be reused? Would be my only thing.
The counterpoint to that is that our light needs to be updated regardless. So, because the electrical in there is not good. So do you want to pay $6,000 now, or do you want to pay $15,000 to get it up? Probably about $18,000 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was last time we talked about doing that, but it's fairly expensive.
The one at 14th Street, if you do the camera like that, it was about $14,000 about, what was that, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah,
3 years ago.
we talked about it.
So you go through the times and you add $4,000 and, that's where we're at.
Okay. So you want to get, do we want to get prices?
I'll get some bids, yeah.
All right. Anything else on street?
Yeah, 12th Road, have we done anything for looking into grants to widen that intersection or anything like that?
We need to go out we need to get a proposal. So we need to design the road. That was the plan for this year. We need to get a design, and then the grant money that we're gonna go after is in relation to, the corridor management, plan that we made.
Right.
In 2017. And that's an exclusive pot of money that, only the cities that have made that plan, or KDOT plan, have access to. It's only a small amount.
Because, you look at it now, you've got Hometown out there, you have a hairdresser out there, you have a rental store out there,
Yep.
and now you're gonna have the 36 venues, so instead of one business like we had years ago, we're up to 4 businesses in that location.
Right. I have no, I don't think there's gonna be any problem with us getting grant money for that. That's, probably the easier portion of town, or not town, but in relation to, making, improvements. We can use that corridor study money.
Widen the road and.
Yep. So the plan in our budget was to get that intersection, not intersection, but 12th Road designed. So I'll go out for, qualifications to have it designed this year. And then we take that design and we go to KDOT and go, hey, we've put some money into this, can we access the grant funds? And it'd probably be 2024 is what I'm anticipating, them opening up funds for us if we do it right. Maybe 2025, depending on how their pot of money is. And that pot of money gives us up to $2 million worth of just construction. It only covers construction. So that's why I would get the engineering done, because that would be out of pocket anyways. And we budgeted for that portion of it. So, yeah.
Anything else on street? Water and wastewater?
Yeah, I would like to thank Kent and his crew for fixing the water main leaks, no matter what the temperature is, time of day, whatever, and just to have them witness that, what they all have to do, go through it, really appreciate it.
Anything else on water, wastewater? Parks and Rec? Which we had a Parks and Rec committee meeting, last week. I was there for part of it, I didn't catch the whole thing. There were quite a few different topics and things that were discussed.
You have the notes from the other night?
I do. Disc golf is one, so we need to bring that up.
Yes,
Yes, there's a lots of subjects, so that's the
Yeah.
reason I asked for the notes.
it was a good meeting. I mean, when I was there of it, it was a good meeting.
You basically missed the part where we were talking about the
All the
fence.
fields.
Yeah, you caught everything else.
Seeing stuff.
Yeah, we talked about the pool, some changes that need to be made down there with dress codes and the mornings, everything's not a change like on this list, okay, so don't on it, it's figuring out how to make morning swim work as long as we have two lifeguards that we had last year that were dedicated just to that. Morning swim is very easy. We don't have the right age, morning swim is very, very hard because below 16, which is majority of our lifeguards, cannot start work before 7 a.m. So there's no 6 a.m. morning swim if that happens. That's what you get told, so you know. Got some dress codes that we need to do. What else did we talk about?
Swim
Timing,
lessons.
swim team, and
Swim team and swim lessons, the timing of that. We talked about, changing the, entrance fee a little bit. 5 and under would be free. It's 4 and under free right now, so 5 and under would be free, and we've moved that entry fee up to $5. It's at $4 right now. And some of the thought process for that is it'll actually make some changing easier. Because you're always having to run down and try and get enough change to keep change going. We got the dress code. I know it'll come up for a vote again.
Family passes, we talked about
Family passes.
Talk about family
We talked about
passes.
changing it from a daily pass to daily.
Access. Make sure it's an entry, it's an
It's
admission.
an entry.
It's admissions.
Entry admissions, is that what we're gonna call it? Right now, they call it a daily pass, which is confusing for some, because they think that they pay and go do other stuff and come back. And it's never been like that, so.
And
Yes,
my
sir.
thought process on that, if those kids are doing that, maybe it's a better option for them to just get a seasonal card or a punch card
Yeah.
or something.
And,
You know, just see it, if they're constantly doing it, just tell, maybe it's a better option instead of paying once, come back and have to pay again.
Yeah.
Just-
the dress code thing is the bikinis are just not appropriate for lifeguards. Let alone, I'm not gonna listen to the shaming by some others because somebody didn't choose a bikini, because that happened last year. Yeah. Not gonna see some of the other inappropriate stuff either. That was the dress code, and here's the thing.
And
is,
also that the guard and the people working the
The
concession stuff,
concessions and the
they have a
entrance?
shirt.
We buy them shirts every year, 2 or 3 of them. And then we don't wear them while we work. I don't think that's out of line. Nope. I really don't. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I don't think it's out of line that we buy you a shirt and that you wear that while you work.
Expect you to wear it.
And I don't think we need to buy any hoodies for them either.
No.
I mean, it's-
And I have a hard time with hoodies. We also discussed disc golf. That needs to be finished.
In order to do that, I would
He
need to
knows.
move one of the baskets. It's become a problem for stoles, I believe, on the farthest south end of the park. That would need to be adjusted. I think most of the other things that we had anticipated for concrete to be used, we could utilize the current paths that are there. And then basically what I would need to do is just grab all the digitized files of all the businesses that donated, and there is places that make signs, like several disc golf places that make UV resistant signs that are plastic that would mount to a 4x4 post. And then I believe, I think that, who was it, the Convention and Tourism had committed to, and I think that they were still maybe up for that, a large sign that outlined the entire disc golf park from hole 1 to hole 9, and that was discussed years ago. Yeah, so biggest hurdle would probably be getting locates and moving the basket on the southern end of the property, and then just kind of going from there. Also, maybe shoring up some of the other baskets that, because I believe one of the stipulations for the course to be put in was non-permanent status, meaning no concrete being put in the ground, where, and my workaround for that, I guess, to provide stability was to have the kids at the school in their welding class used implement discs to the bottom of it, and then bury it around them to provide stability. And I think some of them, the welds have broke, so would need to shore those up, but not a terrible lot to do, because I believe that there is still money that is earmarked for the project that we've raised and have been raised from the beginning. So not a lot, probably make the adjustments to the course, and then I would basically walk off everything or use a rangefinder and get the total footage for each hole, and go from there and build the sign and get the logos on it. So
what's everybody think? I mean,
Do it.
okay.
Needs to be done.
Yeah.
No, I think it needs to be done.
And back to the pool, I think we also discussed about when they test the pool, that we have they bring that test to the office so we could log it into, either you keep a logbook or Cindy keeps a logbook of every test they do, because we don't know if they're testing it all the time. I mean, we're just taking their word for it. I want to see a test every time they do it, see where we're at.
They can bring that.
And
Put it
the-
in the deposit.
Yeah.
Right, with the deposits every night, we get their money every night, and we do their deposit the following morning, so we know how many people come, and, they can put a report in there.
Yeah.
Then we also talked about pool breaks down, have somebody actually come in outside.
At the beginning, we talked about having somebody come in and open it up and make sure everything is working correctly. The chemical metering pumps, because one of them ran on manual for a long time last year. And it wasn't right. The chemicals were not right in the pool.
There was a sensor, I think, that was giving them
it's-
problems or something.
Right,
Yeah.
but point is, we have somebody that's their world, they open it up, they can see the problems, make sure that we get going correctly.
Does that mean like a shakedown cruise before you open with everything, or, I'm not sure what you mean?
We have a pool company that comes in and does certain repairs and fill it up and have them come in, make sure everything's running correctly, test the water, make sure everything's working.
Thank you.
Before the
Yeah.
season starts.
Yeah, just make sure everything's working right. And then the last thing that we discussed was the ridges up at the ball fields.
Oh, yeah, there's that one too.
Been discussed numerous times, and we asked for a date of when they'll be fixed. The only stipulation we kind of put is it better be before the first game.
And also the inventory.
Yeah, the inventory.
Inventory, get rid of inventory.
And I'm trying to think, because we didn't really make any policy or write anything up to bring to council, because I think that the committee's opinion was kind of that they would kind of bring some of their ideas to council, kind of feel council out of whether they liked the idea or didn't, and based on their input, then we would maybe get a policy written up and then bring it back to the council.
We would have to
later on.
make a policy change, For entry fee, if you're gonna do
Yeah.
entry fee. And,
Probably
if we
the,
leave the pool pass alone, then it's fine. If you're gonna change your dress code, that's also a policy change. We already have swim team in there, they're supposed to be there one time a day from 11:15 until no later than 12:30, because that's when our people
Right.
come in. So we just have to adhere to the policy we've established. It doesn't get to change.
And we haven't had
So we have
swim
room for
lessons.
swim lessons, and I did contact the YMCA.
Okay.
And she's supposed to get back to me. They don't use Red Cross anymore because they kinda got shoved out of that, but they have 4 women that have taught swimming lessons in the YMCA and in the town of Beatrice for years. They have their own that they do. And if we're willing to go with that, she was gonna call me back and see if they'd be willing to come. They teach most of their lessons in the winter time because they teach them at the Y and not, so that I might be able to get them to come down here. And then they kind of conduct a class of volunteers that will help them here, so our volunteers can help them here. So that we don't wear our lifeguards out, which is what we normally do, trying to have them there from 6 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. If we could get volunteers to help, that would be great. And those people, and then, our lifeguards can still do private lessons on their own time like they did before, which worked out. That was all we had to offer for the last couple of years, so.
So are you talking about one session all summer, 2 sessions?
Depends on how many, I told them that they could start like in, right away 1st of June, because our pool is heated, so it's not cold, because they said they don't try to run 1, maybe 2 sessions in Beatrice, because it's too cold to start. They do 1 right in front of the 4th and 1 right after. And I said, well, here, we wouldn't have that issue. So, we usually we try 2 sessions. They do different levels at different times, and we could start, if morning swim's at 6 to 8, they could start, 8 to 11, that gets you several sessions in there. It's 2 weeks, just like we always do. What they do too is 2 weeks. And that gives them a day in there in case it rains, and then they do a day of, teaching you the basics of first aid and those kinds of things. So it is basically the same thing. They based it off of Red Cross, because that's what they all learned as.
How long has it been since we did swim lessons?
2 years.
2 years.
So we
All
might
we
have
offered
big
was-
classes.
We could.
Yeah, we could.
All we offered was private before, and we had a lot of people do private, so, but
But
yes.
there's a lot of people that can't afford
Absolutely,
private.
that's right. So,
'Cause when my kids were little, I helped with swim lessons.
Sure.
But and those classes were pretty big.
oh yeah, they always are.
Yeah.
I mean, we have ran up to 3 sessions in a year, longer ago. Usually we take it to the schools, and, they'll bring them back in. We take the applications here at City Hall, so we know how many people are coming in. The group lessons don't fill up as fast as the private lessons did with specific times.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm not saying that, it's only the availability of the teachers. That's what we have to work with. And she has not gotten back with me yet. And if anybody knows somebody else that's a WSI, I just
just gonna
couldn't, I
say.
couldn't get anybody that was a WSI except for this group. So if somebody that's a WSI wants to run swimming lessons, please let me
Can
know.
you get a WSI in Beatrice?
No, because they don't have an instructor anymore, that because of the Red Cross thing that got. And we have trained WSI instructors a couple times, paid for them to get trained, but
We
they
flew
last.
somebody in from
Yeah.
Arizona or
Oh,
Texas.
yeah, it was not a cheap deal.
Yeah.
We can pay these women to come down cheaper, I'm sure.
I know
They last 2 years, that's all your WSI lasts unless you stay, and
stay current and get
And that's-
certified every year.
and so we've paid for 2 to get WSI, but
I just remember taking kids to Topeka to get certified as a WSI.
yeah, and they may too down there, I don't know if we have
But that's
somebody
been years
interested.
ago, like I said. I just think if we can get it accomplished,
Absolutely.
it would be great for the community to be able to do swimming lessons again.
Yeah, it
Right,
would be.
it's a priority, so I'm gonna keep on it, and if anybody knows somebody that's a WSI or knows, just please contact the city hall.
Okay. So we'll come back with a policy on, for
With
the dress
change with
code.
the money and the dress code.
And the money.
Okay, okay, and the rest of it, I guess, really didn't change, so, okay. Yeah.
So we'll dress code, we're going back to one pieces?
That's gonna be the
That's gonna be your-
recommendation.
Gonna be
that's-
the-
That's
that
their
was the
recommendation,
recommendation
you
of that
guys get
committee.
to vote on it, so that's up to you.
And are we gonna let them choose colors like we did?
That's up to you as well, that's also in the policy,
Says in there red or black.
red or blue. And they added black this year,
Right.
so that's up to you, you have to tell me what you prefer.
We'll we'll have a recommendation.
We'll have to look and make sure what's available with suits, that's
That's
the new
true.
deal.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on Parks and Rec?
Did you have any discussion about staffing?
Oh, yes. Yes, sorry. I read the notes. Also, we need to go out for and advertise for a pool manager.
Okay.
We have put the ad out for lifeguards, so we're hoping to catch some home over Christmas break, hopefully.
Okay. We can do that.
Like I say, at some point, we'll probably need to look at the wages too for the pool employees. Was that 2 years ago that we raised, was that 2 years ago?
2 years
raised
ago,
it?
we really adjusted it
Adjusted
and
it quite a
left,
bit. We
left
did.
it alone for a year, and then,
Yeah.
now we can look at it again.
Yeah, and comparing to other towns, I think we're right in the ballpark with everybody else, what I checked last year. We're right like where all the ones around us are.
Anything else on Parks and Rec? Police and Fire?
Forgot
Cemetery airport.
Oh, Cemetery and Airport, skipped right over it. Cemetery and Airport.
Yeah, have you heard anything about that old hangar that needs to be taken down?
We're talking about Chris's.
No, why, something happened to it? Or what?
It doesn't have doors yet,
It does have doors?
it does not.
I don't think so.
So, but we're,
And I think it's missing half its roof, or 3/4 of its roof.
Oh, that windstorm take the rest of it off? I know that they had reattached some of it
Been
down.
up there.
that's the one that Chris is looking to expand on, right?
We don't know, he has two hangars, and he wants to expand one, but I don't know which one.
Okay.
We haven't got up there yet.
We were supposed to,
When it got warm,
so he was asking for improvements. I forgot he had two, so
yes,
that
he has
was.
two hangars, and I don't know which one he was asking to expand one. He wanted to know, to get a building permit to make one, but I don't know which one.
Gets warm, let's get up there and get it figured out.
So, have
He
we
was
changed the policy yet?
On, yeah, I mean, you can't have farm equipment in there, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yes, the policy says no.
But yeah, also there's policy that they can't, they have to look,
Right, they have to
Yeah,
be presentable to, both,
yeah, I can't remember how it reads.
right. Cannot be, it becomes a
Can't remember how
nuisance,
it's
just like
worded,
a
state in
house.
disrepair, yeah.
Will's gonna go out, he's scheduled to go out, with, the owner in question to, measure, because there was a question about the measurement of one of his, probably both of his hangars. And he will address it at that point in time. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anything else on Cemetery and Airport? Police and Fire? Admin and Finance? There are no appointments or wage determinations. City Attorney is not here. Do we need an executive session for anything? No. Roundtable. Todd?
Let's bring coffee back to council meeting.
there
I
gonna be
think we can handle that,
Okay,
Todd.
is there gonna
As
be
long
a-
as it doesn't have to be a barista.
I only do that if there's a protest. I only respond to protests.
Also, snacks would be fun.
You get coffee.
Every other council meeting.
Coffee we can maybe get you.
I've been on here so long, I remember those days.
Well, that guy's wife used to make them, so.
Well, you know.
Oh,
No pressure.
what guy's wife?
Administrators.
That's all I got.
We can take turns bringing snacks.
Like that
Sure.
to go.
There you go.
Do a schedule.
Oh, I can do that.
Commission,
As long as
yeah,
it can be
commission a
anything I
schedule.
want.
There we go.
Okay.
God.
Jeff, you got anything? Lori?
I'll start by next meeting.
Okay. We'll work that way around.
Lori, you got anything?
Nope.
Nope. No, sir.
Kyle? Parker?
Nope.
Colleen? Kevin?
Yes, I'm gonna hit this bandwagon hard tonight. We had our first snowfall of the year.
Yeah?
How many of you have kids in school? How many of you went around the elementary school? There was 2 sidewalks around the whole elementary school that was scooped. 2. Go down to the high school, no sidewalks, nothing on the highway was scooped, on the east side of the highway. Do we still have the Safe Kids to School routes that was in force 5, 6 years ago?
All
They were-
sidewalks have.
Yeah, all sidewalks are
Well, they
supposed to
all,
be
yeah, I
within
know they're all
24
supposed to be
hours.
scooped within 24 hours of snow.
12, actually, I think it is.
Oh, is it
isn't
12? Whatever it
No,
is.
within 24.
I
I mean,
would-
it depends
I
on
would say-
what time of day and all
Right,
this other
yeah.
stuff.
So you give them
Right.
24 hours. They still ain't got it scooped. We need to go out and start fining people. I don't care. I brought this up 2 years ago and it didn't seem to do anything. Last year I brought it up in a couple storms. Come on, people. Kids gotta walk through it.
Yeah?
Get your snow off the sidewalk.
I walked home from Sloops this morning, and I had to walk in the street.
Yeah.
Because there was sidewalks
That are still not scooped.
that belong to a business, but they're on a residential street, and they were not scooped. So I walked in the street.
It's not that hard of a deal.
No, I paid, I had.
Plenty of kids
Yeah,
out there
they-
that can scoop snow.
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I got. Just burns me every year we gotta go through this
Oh.
because people can't get a shovel out.
Your hair was standing up when you was talking about it.
I'm sure it probably was, cause it just burns me.
I do have something. A proclamation for Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention and Awareness Month. Whereas human trafficking crimes involve the exploitation of a person through force, fraud, or coercion, and is widely considered to be a form of modern-day slavery, claiming nearly 40 million victims worldwide. And whereas human trafficking goes against human rights, and there's a vital need to eradicate this crime, and whereas even though awareness of this crime is growing, human trafficking continues to go unreported due to its isolating nature, the misunderstanding of its definition, and the lack of awareness about its indicators. And whereas increased community education on how to identify victims of human trafficking, along with increased knowledge of local resources and services for those affected by these criminal actions, can help restore freedom and dignity to identified survivors, as well as help diminish the number of future victims. And whereas law enforcement, federal and state agencies, nonprofits, and social service providers, private industry, and non-governmental organizations are working to end human trafficking. Whereas the goal of Human Trafficking Prevention Month is to raise awareness in an effort to end this horrendous crime, now therefore I, Jason Barnes, Mayor of Marysville, do hereby proclaim the month of January as Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention and Awareness Month, and encourage all our citizens to become more informed on this growing problem, to be vigilant and report suspicious activity, and to work towards solutions to end trafficking in all its forms in our community. If you see something that doesn't look right, take action and call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 888-373-7888. That's all I had.
And just for more information, tomorrow, Homeland Security, January 11th, is it's National Human Traffic Awareness Day. Wear blue. is what it says, so.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Veto.